and welcome to round 5 of season 5 of the HRZN Racing League. I'm Chris, otherwise known as Screamite. Be taking you through not just the highlights from the British Grand Prix, but the full broadcast replay. Believe me when I say it's worth every moment. But let's remind you a little bit about where we're at in season 5 so far. As you can see, British Grand Prix here, ranked 5. We've had 2 wins for Sandro Wagner, 2 wins for Only Mate, and a sprint win for Tommy from Bahrain, Qatar, Emilia-Romagna, and China. In China, I'm Your Mate took the victory by 15.5 plus seconds over Scornful Griffin. The Scottish took 3rd with fastest lap. Bazza got my driver of the day after getting a points finish after a poor first 3. In the overall standings, Sandro and I'm Your Mate level on points. I'm Your Mate going to try and defend his title, with Scornful Griffin and Tommy Ash 3rd and 4th. A few drivers on 0, we expect that to change. In Split 1, I'm Your Mate leads the way by 12 from Tommy Ash. Scornful Griffin is 3rd, and at the moment, Six Pompano and Bazza down in the relegation zone. In Split number 2, Sandro running away with it at the moment, but Senna in 2nd is not far ahead of Perpetual. Mago popped in with a debut points placing. And in the Constructors, Mercedes bypassed the 100-point mark with Ferrari following them. RB not far behind. Alpine getting a little cut adrift from McLaren down the back. But let's take a look at Silverstone, a circuit we all know and love, and the debut World Championship event way back in 1950. Silverstone then, 5.891 kilometres of former airfield, 18 turns, 10 to the right, 8 to the left. Lewis Hamilton with the record 9th victory last season. It's been holding Grand Prix since 1926, but was the round 1 of 1950, the first ever World Championship event. Here we are down the Hamilton Straight, in towards Abbey and Farm. This section built in 2010, real nice flow to it. You've got to keep your speed up. As you head in towards Village, heavy braking, get right into the apex before coming back on yourself to the loop. You need to get a real good exit, but don't get too far wide, else you will get time penalties. And then it's out of Aintree, down the Wellington Straight, get the DRS open and be chasing anybody around you, into the older layout, into Brooklands through Leftfield, and then Woodcote. You can keep a fair amount of speed through Leftfield before heading into the old start-finish straight, and then down towards Copse. You probably don't want to be too wide here, but you can still make a move. Don't run too wide, else you will pick up time penalties there as well. And then into the iconic Maggots-Beckett's complex. Keep your speed up through the first parts, and then in the last bit, you want to drift the car, ride the curbs, and then out of Chapel, down the Hanger Straight, another big DRS overtake opportunity. Down in towards Stowe. Again, keep your speed up, but don't get too far wide as you head towards Vale and Club to end the lap. Not obvious overtaking positions here, but again, you can make moves if the other driver gives you the space. So that was a lap of Silverstone then. What a circuit it is, and let's take a look at how our drivers lined up for this one. The Scottish took pole position from Tommy Ash with I'm Your Mate in 3rd, Sandro Wagner 4th, Six Pompano 5th, and Jimmy Alex, Vampire, Andy Roon, Bazza and Lil Reeves complete in the top 10. And the remaining 5, it's Rover, Mago, Perpetual, Bunny's Vengeance and DJ Davasaurus at the back. We did have an aborted start thanks to a little bit of EA server issues, but we did eventually manage to get the race underway. Look forward to this, grab a drink and enjoy. We are on the grid and there's 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights and 5. And this time away we go. at Britain. The grid is correct as Bunny's Vengeance immediately going to move out of the way. Ivy Mate gets a great start and moves into second place. Sandro moves past Tommy as well. Will stay off board for now as they all careen into the village loop section. Everybody seems to have got round okay. Let's look further back. The move's happening in the middle of the pack. We'll stay with Bazza for a moment as we've got movement there. Vampire at the inside of Jimmy. Lil Reeves also trying to take a little look as Jimmy moves back past Vampire. Andy's moved to the back. Has Andy spun? Has he lost the car? I think he might have. He does appear to be a little off the back. Let's take a look at the start from I'm Your Mate's perspective. Probably one of his better starts this season. Gets right off the line straight past Tommy before even getting to turn one. He's taken a little look at the Scottish. You can see just a sea of cars behind him. Almost gets into the back of the Williams, but manages to avoid any contact and manages to also keep the position. On board with the other Ferrari, a little bit further back. Bazza finding himself lower end of the top 10, but builds those revs really nicely, gets another really smooth start, already past Andy, and is immediately taking a look at the Mercedes ahead of him. Vampire running just a little bit wide, giving Bazza the opportunity to dive down the inside, but Vampire cuts back across, and then Bazza swings round the outside of the loop, little bit of wheel banging, takes two positions, and is off on his way further forward. Now with the RB of Jimmy Alex, doesn't bog down too much off the start, but doesn't seem to get away in the second phase.
Was that the start?
Does mean that he is on the back foot just a little bit, but has kept away from getting overtaken until we head into the right-hander. Vampire at the inside. He's trying to also take a look at Sandro, gets all over the sausage curbs, and then you see Bazza going by. As the lap continues though, you will notice that down the inside going into Brooklands is Vampire. Jimmy's going to have to try and hold it on the outside. Doesn't quite hold it there, but sticks his nose in, stays at the inside at Woodcut, and is back holding that position before we get down to Cops, where Vampire decides he's going to take a little look, and he's through. Now with Lil Reeves in the Williams. Again, builds the revs nicely, but unlike a couple of his compatriots, gets a really nice start. Andy bogs down, loses a position immediately. Lil Reeves very quick to move out of the way. It looks nice and clean early doors, no major wobbles or lockups, but he's trying to look down the outside of Bazza. He'll then just get caught in two minds as Bazza goes around the outside of the guys in front. Lil Reeves there, just finding his own little bit of space, heading back down the hangar straight and looking forward to a long race ahead. We'll get on board with the McLaren of Perpetual. Real nice hold of the optimal there. Does bog down a little bit, you can hear the rear wheels digging in, but you can see Mago moving past Andy, and then all of a sudden looks like it's going to be three wide. Perpetual has to take evasive manoeuvres, but does then come back at Mago into the village loop section, doesn't quite make it, and then finds himself just having to defend coming out of it. On board with Bunny's Vengeance, driving the Red Bull but scoring for Alpine. Gets a real big kick of oversteer off the line and a big drift off the start box. Not the best start, but he's already up and alongside DJ Davasaurus and past him before we get into these couple of tighter corners. We'll follow him a little bit longer as he comes towards the hanger straight. Again, real twitchy on the back end of the car. Starts heading out towards the final few corners of the old layout. Realises he's driving the Red Bull. And then just locks up, gets into the back of Andy. Everybody just relaxed about it, but they're all available to fight another day.
Alright, good luck, guys.
And here we see the onboard for Andy. Just doesn't seem to get away off the start. You'll see Lil Reeves will go one side of him, and then all of a sudden everybody is past before he's even up to turn one. You'll see Perpetual there getting quite close. He's only ahead of Dabosaurus and Bunny, and we'll see his perspective of the incident with Bunny. Tries to go up the inside of Perpetual and Mago, gets it just a little bit wrong, bounces off the sausage curb, but survives. Looks like he's going to take Perpetual on the outside, doesn't quite have the traction or pace to do it. Heads on down into Brooklyn's Luffield Woodcut, and again thinks about the move. Looks like he's going to try and just hold it. Gets caught, loses the back end, dips a wheel in the grass,
okay.
but survives, can fight on.
Slow down for me, carry on.
It looks like the Scottish leads the way by 0.4 of a second. Everybody still close to each other will ride on board with I'm Your Mate, because he's going to get DRS down the Wellington straight. Both locking up. Looked for a moment like we were going to see contact, but got through cleanly. Everybody survives, and he's got past Dabosaurus down at the back. But I'm Your Mate's going to have DRS. Tommy is also going to have DRS. Does the Scottish hold them off? Yes, he does, and keeps it fairly neat through these final couple of corners on the old layout. Keep saying that because I keep thinking of them as the last couple of corners as Jimmy and Vampire. Are we going to go side? We're going to go side by side in cops with a Mercedes, aren't we? We're not going to do that. No. Vampire backs off. Lets Jimmy go. Let's take a look at that from on board of Jimmy Alex's RB. It gets a really nice run down the Wellington straight. Looks like it should be fairly straightforward, but doesn't quite get close enough before then going into Brooklands. Finds a little gap on the inside, holds the car nicely, doesn't drift too far wide, no contact between the two of them. Really nice driving, and he's through before cops. A little bit further back, let's have a look at Bunny's Vengeance. Goes into the village section, goes through the loop, and almost does his own loop. Manages to hold the car and just about get away with it. Before he knows it though, the Haas of Andy Rudin up the inside. Sensible driving there from both of them. But this battle, I mean, at the moment, everybody's still fairly close. Lil Reeves a little bit off Vampire, so without a DRS, and then Mako a little off Little Reeves. So there's a few guys that are without DRS, but as we go down here, the Scottish has been passed. I'm Your Mate uses DRS to great effect into Stowe. Great move there, but Scottish is going to stay right with the Ferrari. The top three covered by just a couple of tenths. As it looked like Vazza was getting a little rough round at the back there, as Rover is the first to pit. Rover the first to come in the Alpine. Let's ride on board with Scottish into Village and then into the loop. Tries to go for the wide entry to get as much speed out of it as he can, because look how close he is to the back of that Ferrari. Tommy's lost a little bit of time there. The Scottish will go by I'm Your Mate nice and easily. Tommy won't quite follow. Great move there by the Scottish. But they're going, oh no, he's got a little bit wide through Woodcut. I think there might have been a little bit of contact, but they're okay. They're all still pointing in the right direction. Give me further off board, because we've got I'm Your Mate and Tommy Ash right in behind there as well. Trying to see if I can get at least a nice off-board camera here, because the Scottish is going to be under threat down Stowe. Six Pompano is not far away, and he's got Sandro Wagner looking for a move. I'm Your Mate's going to be forced to the outside, and he sweeps round. Well driven there, both of them. The defensive driving was strong, but I'm Your Mate was just a bit quicker as Tommy's going to look for a move. Oh, that was a close one. That was a close one, Tommy. And he's lost ground now. He's got Six Pompano and Sandro Wagner right there with him. Heading up to turn one. It's a tough place to overtake. You've got to be committed and sure that you're going to make the corner and not clatter the car in front. So far, still only Rover, the only driver to have pit, as Sandro is going to go for a move. There's contact. He's hit the sausage curb. He hit the back of Tommy there as well. Sandro's gone backwards. Six has gone forwards. It's all kicking off there in the mid-pack. Or the higher mid-pack, should we say. Let's ride on board with Bazza here. Chasing down Sandro Wagner. Gets into the village loop section. You can see Sandro tries to get on the inside, gets all over the curb, maybe clips the car in front. Gives Bazza a nice run round the outside onto the Wellington straight. Sandro does think about coming back, but Bazza's got that one covered. But that's brought everybody down to Vampire, really right into this now. Six is a little ways off Scottish. The battle for the lead is just up the road. But we'll go Skycam into Cops. Everybody just looks to have held station. Just for now, at least. Yeah, Tommy, there was a little bit of contact. We'll try and pick that up post-race. But there was just a little bit of contact as Bazza, I don't know whether he's going offensive or defensive as the Scottish moves up the inside of I'm Your Mate. Again, DRS really powerful as Sandro's gone past Bazza a little bit further back as well. Although Bazza's come back at him. It looks like we've got Tommy going in. But let's take a look at round two between Bazza and Sandro. You can see Sandro's got a really great run onto the hanger straight. Doesn't quite get past Bazza until we get down to Stowe, both of them with DRS. Bazza, though, takes the wide entry point, slings straight back past Sandro Wagner, and is past him into the final couple of corners, although it does take just a little bit of holding on. And then let's take a look at Jimmy. He's watching this from just in behind. Gets a nice run onto the hanger straight, and you can see Sandro looking down the inside. Waits until the last available moment before going up the inside at Stowe. Bazza will switch back on him. Jimmy sees this as an opportunity, which is real heads-up driving by the RB driver. The two of them get a little bit close and maybe a little bit of contact. But then Jimmy goes up the inside, takes the gap into the final couple of corners. Doesn't quite make it past, though. As Bazza and Sandro, was that? Bazza and Sandro having contact or having a close run thing, as the top three now only covered by half a second or so. Yeah, Tommy now the second driver to go in. Don't forget, we need 3 stops from everybody. I'm going to ride on board with I'm Your Mate because he's got Six Pompano right there behind him. The Scottish really cuts across there to get a defensive line down the Wellington straight. Is he going to defend too hard? Oh, I'm Your Mate nearly into the back of the Williams. Six a little further back now. But it almost looks like they're going 3 wide through Woodcut. As Andy now making moves further back. He's past Perpetual. But let's look at this battle here. Bazza, Sandro and Jimmy with Vampire just in behind into Cops. Sandro going to try and make a move. Is Jimmy going to try and make a move into Maggots and Beckett's? I don't think so. So we've got the top 3 together, then 4th, 5th and 6th with 7th just there now as well. So let's watch from right up at the top here at Stowe. The Scottish is the man leading. He defends again, but through goes I'm Your Mate. Six Pompano goes through. Sandro's gone through. Bazza fighting back at Jimmy. But Sandro and Bazza both in, as well as... Was that I'm Your Mate? Both Ferraris? No. Yeah, both Ferraris are in. Back with Bazza again. Once again heading down the hangar straight. This time, Sandro will go on around the outside, but as you can see, just as he moves across, has to just get out of it to allow Jimmy back through. Goes back at the inside at Stowe, but is heading into the pits, so that fight is over for now. And we'll watch that on board from Jimmy's perspective, all the way back at Cop, so you can see how close these three are, just dragging each other along. Jimmy having to back out of it just a touch through Maggots and Beckett's just to avoid a collision. Again, avoiding a collision into Chapel. He's got Vampire behind him as well. So he's going attack and defence down the hangar straight. You can see Sandro go past Bazza, and as he drifts across, he notices that Jimmy's there. Gets a little bit of grass and a little bit of gravel. Holds it on the outside. Can't complete the move, but you'll see the Ferrari dive in to the right-hand side.
I'm your mate, then.
All right. Well, it all is now just working itself out. How badly is that going to cost Bazza? Let's ride on board. He's going to get held. Oh, that's poor communication there. Whether they talked about that pre-race or not, I don't know. But it does mean that our three-way ties are now down to two-way ties. First and second, third and fourth. 6 right there with the Scottish as Bazza and Sandro and I'm Your Mate actually all fall behind Tommy, who pitted as well. So Tommy's come out in a really good position there. Just the guys at the back have stopped now, 10th to 15th. The top 9 yet to stop. But we've still got 2 more after that for everybody. 3 for most of them, but 2 more for everybody, 10th onwards. As we watch this McLaren-Williams battle, is already lap 6. This race has been chaotic early doors, lots of overtaking. DRS super powerful up towards Stowe, but 6 not close enough to the Scottish, as Vampire is close enough to Jimmy. And they give each other enough space. Jimmy's going to try the cutback. But no, both of them are going to go in this lap. As a Scottish and 6th. So Lil Reeves essentially inherits the lead here as Andy goes in. Bunny's Vengeance, Perpetual, Dabosaurus and Lil Reeves, the only people now yet to stop. Onwards to lap 7, and Lil Reeves should take the lead as Dabosaurus gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits. Dabosaurus is now in as well. But again, with those 2 extra stops, that 10 seconds will get wiped off in a stop rather than at the end of the race. That might actually work out better. Mago and Rover fighting down at the back as, yeah, everybody, it's all just cycling through. Just watch that timing tower light up with reds and greens as people are moved about. But the Scottish has fallen behind I'm Your Mate and Tommy. 6 has gone out in front of Sandro and Vampire. Bazza has lost out by being held by the other Ferrari. So at the moment, just the top 3 yet to stop. Lil Reeves, Bunny's Vengeance and Perpetual. It's Jimmy and Vampire fighting out on pit exit. We will go back to some of those fights in just a second because, I mean, Tommy's only 10 seconds off these 3. Shows you how quick the lead pace was. And we will, like I say, we will head back to those battles in just a moment, but I want to see Lil Reeves and Bunny's Vengeance down the hangar straight here because Bunny definitely has the run on the Williams. Maybe driving a Red Bull, but will be scoring for Alpine and will take the lead of this race on lap 7, at least for now. We'll see if they all head on in. Tommy has got a little bit of an advantage here, as Bunny and Lil Reeves still fighting. Lil Reeves is in the pits, that's why. So Bunny and Perpetual now, the only 2 not yet to have stopped. 1 stop out the way for most of the field. Is anybody going to start thinking about their second already? As this clash of cars, this effectively the battle for the lead as Sandro sets the fastest lap in at the tail end of that pack. This is essentially your lead battle after all the first stops have cycled through. The top two in this little clutch, Tommy and I'm, you mate, have both won races. Sandro there in 7th. He's also won races this season. The Scottish, I think, certainly has the pace. Six Pompano has certainly thrown the cat amongst the pigeons when coming into races. Hasn't done every rain this season so far, but when he has been right on the pace with the front guys. As again, 0.6 of a second the gap between Tommy and I'm Your Mate, down to just under half a second, which is actually really letting the Scottish and Six Pompano in. Everybody taking out just a slightly different line. As the Scottish, did the Scottish slow down? I don't think he did, but Tommy not far away enough this time, I don't think, but he will defend as Six also looks down the inside of Scottish. I'm Your Mate round the outside, Six down the inside. Sandro looked for a late lunge there, but avoided it as Perpetual is now in. So Bunny's Vengeance, the only person not to have stopped in the entire field. Everybody else spread out quite a lot. This clutch of 5 drivers currently fighting for net lead and still closing on Bunny's Vengeance as it stands. It is DRS passing Ahoy. Let's ride on board with Six, who's in the middle of the pack. He's got the Scottish and Sandro Wagner behind him. Gets a really great run on Tommy. He's past the V-Carb. Is he going to go past the Ferrari as well? Yes, he is. Through goes Six Pompano, to paraphrase a Croft. What a move that was. He's on the soft tyre, so he does have the grip advantage, but brave to take them both in one. Six Pompano leads this clutch and is effectively in the lead of the Grand Prix with Bunny yet to stop and hemorrhaging time to these guys. The pace is rapid with these 5, 6 drivers. 5, 6, 5, 5. I can count. Let's look a bit further back at Perpetual and Mago into Luffield corner. You can see Mago gets just a little wide on exit. Perpetual with the traction gets up the inside, but they remain neck and neck through Woodcut, heading down the old start, finish straight towards Copse. It does look like, though, Perpetual has gained the position and does so before they reach Copse. There's Bunny's Vengeance just going through Stowe, and Six Pompano now the one that's going to be under attack as I'm Your Mate goes one way. Tommy goes another. They all avoid each other. The Scottish is going to try and get involved in this as well as Rover gets a time penalty. Tommy goes in. He's going to take his second stop now. Jimmy's actually closing on this little battle as well as Sandro. That's an awkward place to try and pass. We caught it just at the wrong time. I don't know whether there was contact, but if there was, it was marginal as Bunny's Vengeance is in. So I'm Your Mate now does lead with Six Pompano second, Scottish third, and Sandro fourth. 4 constructors at the front. 5 if you include Tommy, because when these stops cycle through, he's going to be back with these guys. So it's now Six's turn to go for the move once again. We're going to ride off board for this one. Easily done with DRS. And the 2 behind still line astern. The Scottish taking a little look at the inside at Woodcut, not quite close enough there. But is he going to have a sniff into Copse? Because, well, one of these 4 is going to come out of this with a win, I think. One of these 5, if you include Tommy, who will be back once the stops have cycled through. There's Bunny and Lil Reeves having a little scrap in the midfield, but we're going to stay on board with this battle at the front. We're already just shy of half distance. The Scottish gets it wrong. He will get DRS, so he won't lose too much ground, but he was off through Chapel. I'm Your Mate not close enough. Six Pompano now takes a more assertive lead as Sandro's in. Oh, here's a nice long-running battle between Bunny's Vengeance and Lil Reeves. You can see that Bunny has to just get out of it, heading down towards Brooklands, and Lil Reeves stays rightfully on the inside. It was a late move, though, by the Williams that Bunny managed to absolutely pick up on. They head towards Cop, still effectively side by side, and Bunny just about heads on through. But as the lap continues, we get just a little bit more out into the hangar straight, down towards Stowe. Lil Reeves closing up with the DRS. Bunny constantly looking back, but Lil Reeves finds the gap up the inside. Bunny doesn't defend too hard, hoping to come back at Lil Reeves into the final few corners, and does so with a late braking dive, holds it round the outside, gives the space, beautifully executed. Let's watch that from Lil Reeves' point of view. You can see a bit reactive in defence, but maybe that was more the closing speed for Bunny than anything else. Wasn't too sharp a move on board. Stays at the inside through Luffield heading towards Woodcut. As you can hear, got other people in TeamSpeak there just distracting him as he heads down towards Cops, but chooses to just ease off a touch, allow Bunny's Vengeance to go through without any contact, and will continue to follow on up through Maggots, Beckett's, and then Chapel. It looks like it's done and dusted at this point. Bunny's starting to pull away, but the DRS really strong down the hangar straight, just where the activation is so early in the straight there. Heading down towards Stowe, gets up the inside, really well executed manoeuvre. Doesn't run too wide either. Should be done and dusted, but as you can see, Bunny's Vengeance really late on the brakes. Up on the sausage curb, Lil Reeves has to evade just a touch to survive. Jimmy is closing as well. The gap down to under 3 seconds. I think, did I see Jimmy dive? Yeah, Jimmy dove in as well. It's the thing with this pit entry, because of how the final couple of corners are laid out. Anyone going into the pits will take the lead as we watch these two into the final couple of corners. Lil Reeves and Bunny's Vengeance. I will go back to the front very quickly as Jimmy, Sandro have taken their second stops. But those two seem to be maybe the only other battle on track. Rover and Mago close to each other. But Dabosaurus has 10 seconds, which he will ditch off at the pit stop, and Rover has 3 seconds for track limits violations, but will stay with the front three. Scottish a couple of tenths further back this time, but that does probably come from running wide at Chapel on the last lap. The DRS did, I think, saved him losing too much time. But I'm your mate all over the back of Six Pompano. This is going to be, I feel like this battle of 4 or 5 cars could rage all the way to the end, because Sandro's come out just behind Tommy further back. We'll take a look at that now. They are just in behind Dabosaurus too, who's also just in behind its Rover. So all of them are going to get DRS. Rover not far from Mago either. Dabosaurus, though, I think wisely realising that the fight behind is not the one he's involved in. Tommy and Sandro both go. Tommy maintains the position as the top 3 power on. Vampire now in the pits for his second stop. We're almost up to half distance. I think we've had more overtakes here than we had in all of Qatar in the first 12. So sort of settled down at the front a little bit. As I say that, the Scottish trying to look around the outside through Woodcut. He's thought better of it there, which is probably for the best as we head towards Cops. We'll head further back to the likes of Tommy and Sandro in just a moment as well, because, well, that battle's still going as Tommy goes past Rover. Again, race for Rover, not really with Tommy or Sandro. Actually, let's stay here. That's a shallow line from I'm Your Mate, but does get the slingshot. He's going to be up alongside. He's past 6. Scottish is going to follow through. Is Scottish going to look for the move at the lead? No, he's not. No, he's not. Wisely backed out of it again. Real heads-up driving by these guys. A 6 now with the softs goes in for the second stop. Perpetual now with a 3-second time penalty for track limits as Andy has moved past Bazza a bit further back. Strong showing from the Haas driver at the moment as he heads in for his second stop. So Tommy with Sandro. That battle still rages on. Where they will come out in relation to Six Pompano, because that was the fight early doors. Those three with I'm Your Mate and the Scottish. Where is Six Pompano? He's just heading out the pits now. So we've got Perpetual going past. Oh, gets it a little bit wriggly out the pits. There's Mago. Tommy and Sandro have gone past. Time for a replay clip sent to us by DJ Dabasaurus, having his own through goes Hamilton moment at club. Rover getting a little bit wide there. The Aston Martin going on through. And we'll watch that from Jimmy's perspective as well, because you have to take the opportunity. And you could just about hear it in the background there. Through goes DJ. Great move. Jimmy takes advantage of Rover's misfortune and takes another place. What happened coming out of the pits? Just maybe too much power with cold tyres. Nearly lost it. But there's still one more pit stop, so doesn't have to worry quite so much yet. As we see Jimmy going past Dabasaurus a little further back. Fairly easy DRS assisted overtake as we move back to the front here. These two 15 seconds clear of Bazza as I'm Your Mate's going to go for the move on Scottish and switch back again as we reach half distance. It has just been back and forth. Both of them coming in. It looked like the Scottish was actually not going to, and then changed his mind at the last second, followed I'm Your Mate in. Doesn't want to be left behind on strategy there as Tommy now. Does he have DRS? I don't think he does, as Six moves past Mago a bit further back. Sandro looked at it, thought about it, but backed out of it. Twitch trying to put ads on now. This is really not the time. It's like 14 of 26. Where are the top two going to come out? Who have we got going by? Again, Bunny's Vengeance moves to the front. Lil Reeves as well. Perpetual goes past. Tommy's through. Tommy Sandro. Is Six going to make it through as well? I was going to say no, he's not, but he's right the outside of Scottish into Vale. What a move that was. Six is going to switch him back though. Or is he? No, he's not. He backs out of it. So we are back to this battle of the five as Tommy going around Perpetual, who finds himself very much in dangerous territory with these guys. Again, whether he backs off and just says, you know what, this is not my fight, guys. Sandro's gone by, so I guess so, but he doesn't want to quite give it up yet. The other McLaren not far behind. He could, I would say, could be a bit of a roadblock, but could also find himself coming back as Sandro gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. I'm Your Mate's going to be looking at making the move on Perpetual now, as Sandro and Tommy, I thought they'd gone side by side. They had not. I'm Your Mate will go past Perpetual. Sandro right on the outside of Tommy. Great move there. The move of the outside at Stowe has been really well executed by a few people here as Lil Reeves jumps into the pits. Sandro now, net lead as it stands, but he's got Tommy and I'm Your Mate behind him. The Scottish and Six Pompano will probably get past Perpetual fairly quickly as the Scottish goes past Perpetual. Six Pompano just needs to catch back up to this little crew, because he's in the hunt here. He is definitely in the hunt, and with Sandro having time penalties, it could drop him from, say, 1st to 6th if he's really unlucky. Lil Reeves and Bazza moving past drivers through pit stops. So who still needs to make second stops? Rover, Perpetual, and Bunny's Vengeance. The only people still need to make second stops. Everybody's still yet to make their third. It's like 15 of 26. And this 4-5 driver lineup at the front have been stuck together pretty much throughout. Such is their pace. They came out of the pits last time around 10 seconds behind Bunny's Vengeance. They are now 4 seconds behind at the end of their second stint. Insane pace up at the front. Six is 1.6 seconds off of the Scottish as Rover gets another 3 seconds. There's Bunny's Vengeance. Here's the group gunning for the lead. And Jimmy now trying to get on the back of it. As we go 3 wide into Stowe. Does this work? I'm Your Mate's through. Sandro's through. Sandro's going into the pits. He's getting out of the way now. Scottish. Tommy, I'm your mate. All together going into the final couple of corners. They all somehow survive, and Tommy now is going to go for a move at turn 1. Let's watch all of that on board with I'm Your Mate. He's got Tommy Ash in front of him, and just in front of them is Sandro Wagner. He goes to the right-hand side like Hakkinen did to Schumacher all those years ago. There's contact between him and Tommy, but more just a coming together of cars in a racing incident. Tommy's still looking down the inside into the final couple of corners, thinks he's got it done, doesn't make it. I'm Your Mate nice and shallow, does compromise him through club. Tommy thinks about it, you can see him there, but he will back off before turn 1. No, he doesn't. I thought he was going to go then. He decided against it. He's got the Scottish now in close quarters. The Scottish is going to go for a move here. No, he doesn't. Tommy now. He will get DRS. The Scottish bounces off the back of the RB. They're all still pointing in the right direction and nobody seems to have damage. That's the important thing. They're going to go 3 wide into Brooklands. The Scottish down the inside. Surely this ends in tears. No, they all keep it on the circuit. There's a little tap between the Ferrari and the RB, and the Scottish somehow goes from 3rd to 1st in the blink of an eye. And once again, back with I'm Your Mate, this time a fight with Tommy and Scottish. You can see the Scottish there getting just the best run through the loop. And before you know it, both of them are down the inside of the Ferrari. Does try and hold it out here. Brave driving, little bit of contact, has to get off the throttle, but beautiful space by all of them all the way through. What is happening? These three are driving for their lives at the moment and doing it cleanly. There's probably been some wheel bang. I'm going to ride on board with Tommy for just a second. You can see even the McLaren now closing back up. Sandro will be going at the fastest pace available to try and make sure he's back with this fight at the end, because any one of these 5 could win this race as Tommy goes for the move on the Scottish. Not quite close enough. The Scottish holds him off. Everybody seems to have just found themselves a little bit of tarmac for now. But even Jimmy's now closing in on this one, and he's done 2 stops. I'm Your Mate goes up the inside. What a move. There's contact. They're off. And 6 Pompano goes through. And here's that from on board of I'm Your Mate. You can see the Scottish has gone at the inside of Tommy at Stowe. I'm Your Mate thinking here, a bit of opportunism, thinks about a move. Tommy defends it well, but manages to get the slingshot and the cutback just through here. And you'll just see the car's not turning. It's just a little bit of Cody's physics. Through goes 6 Pompano. Tommy has lost a little bit of time, but will be back in the fight soon enough. Oh, did they just get clubbed together there? I wonder. I'll be interested to watch that one on board a bit later on. I think that was possibly just a moment of F1 physics. They were alongside each other going into the corner. But, tough one to call. It'll be interesting to watch that one back later, see if there's any stewards' inquiries on that. But that moves the McLaren to second. Outside of DRS at the moment, though, gets a little deep into Woodcut and is actually losing time on the Williams up ahead. Sandro now Sandro and Vampire, the 2 Mercedes, the only ones to have taken all 3 stops. Perpetual still yet to take a second as Sandro moves past Lil Reeves further back. As we get a nice spam bot message, just my favourite kind of thing to happen. I mean, if you were watching that move there, Senna, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but as I'm Your Mate moves back past Sandro, it did to me look a little bit game physics-y rather than an outright dirty move. I mean, we have said about over-aggressive driving on that. I don't feel that was necessarily over-aggressive, but that's just me. Again, we'll we'll wait and see the onboards to get a clear view of it as Perpetual finally makes his second stop of the race, but it has settled down a little bit at the front just because of everybody spreading out a touch after that little bit of contact. It maybe looks like Six Pompano is maybe out of grip a little bit, but staying with I'm Your Mate, who's trying to close back up to the Scottish, who now has just a little bit of a breathing space. Yeah, I don't think it was a dirty move. I think it was opportunistic, and then just a little bit of classic Cody's physics getting involved. We've seen it a couple of times. I think there was an incident with Scorn and Scottish earlier in the season, maybe at Qatar, where the cars just got stuck. It happens sometimes in this game. It's just one of those things that's never quite gone away through every iteration of F1 since Cody's took over. But an opportunistic move, whether that gets appealed or not, we'll see. Otherwise, it will go down as a pure racing incident as Bunny moves past Baza a little further back. It does seem to have just calmed down at the front for just a lap or two. Again, only the Mercedes so far have taken their mandatory 3 stops. So, in lap 19 of 26, everybody's kind of running out of time on that, as the Scottish is now 1.6 seconds clear at the front. Looks to have broken away. The battle for points, though, at the moment, Perpetual and Mago, the ones hanging on to those last couple of overall points. Obviously, if everybody finishes, everybody gets points in their splits. As we are not quite at full capacity this week, but Vampire, you'd expect to come back as Stop cycle through. Sandro already back up to 9th, but whether he's quite going to have the legs now to catch back up with these guys to get back into this, what was at one stage a 5-way scrap for the win, has now kind of turned into a 3-way scrap for second as Six Pompano goes up the inside of I'm Your Mate. It's a nice clean move with the DRS, and Six immediately goes in, following the Scottish, who's also followed by Tommy. So I'm Your Mate now takes the lead overall for now. Wait for that to cycle through. Yeah, as I say, the unique pit entry here, you will gain a couple of positions before you immediately lose them again. Doesn't look like anybody's got any damage that needs repairing. Tommy just out behind the McLaren. It will work itself out as Dabosaurus gets a 3-second time penalty. It might be a good move by Tommy to get the undercut, you're right. The Scottish did look like he had the legs on these guys in that stint, as Tommy pops out behind the other Williams. Whether Lil Reeves plays that team game or whether he... a little bit of bumping and banging, it looked like from a distance there. But whether the Williams plays the team game or realises this isn't his fight, we'll wait and see. Not overly defensive, and then Tommy with the fresher, soft tyres. Lil Reeves does try and hang on to it though, but has to see the position in the end through Woodcut and into Luffield.
Is that you behind me, Lewis? No.
Right on board with Lil Reeves, you can see Tommy's just popped out of the pits and into the loop. You can see the RB just gives the Williams a little nudge. Tommy backs off, a little bit of fair race in there, and then knows he's got the DRS coming down the Wellington straight. He'll go up the inside into Brooklands. Won't quite make the move until they're almost into Luffield. Lil Reeves does try and hold it, keeping the nose up there, but doesn't have the traction, and Tommy is off and away. And Sandro actually in amongst this battle now as well. He's right behind Bazo. We join him just as he goes by the other Ferrari through Maggots and Beckett's. He's now jumped himself back into this battle too, as I'm Your Mate now in the pits. So Jimmy's still yet to take a third stop. He's in now as well though, so overall, I think we're looking at maybe Scottish, I'm your mate Sandro, 6 Tommy, as it stands, all a little bit spread out. But will they all close back in as Vampire moves past? May go a bit further back in the field as Lil Reeves comes in. So where is I'm your mate? Where is the Ferrari? The Ferrari is not anywhere near out the pits yet. Sandro moves into second, Baz is third. I'm your mate's actually fallen behind both Six and Tommy. That's some fantastic undercut. Sandro does have a penalty, you are correct, that 3 seconds. With them all so close, it could still see him drop all the way back down to 6th, but I'm your mate, the one with, you've got to say, the one with the paces. We've missed Tommy go past 6. Baz is staying with Sandro, but he does have a pit stop to take. Sandro 1.9 seconds off the Scottish now, so it does look to me like the Scottish might very well have this one wrapped up, although Sandro on soft tyres and has been for a little bit, I think, which could explain some of his time loss. As it's back to a 3-way battle. I'm your mate immediately back up to the back of the McLaren, who's with Tommy. Bazza could easily be the cork in the bottle, yet to stop. So who's still left to make their third stop? Perpetual, Mago and Bazza. But Bazza is in now. Is I'm your mate going to make another move in through the final couple of corners? We're right on board this time. Scottish are 128.1, 2.8 seconds clear at the front. He's broken away. It is very much looking like this is Scottish's to lose. And Sandro, I feel, not just with the penalty he's got, but also possible tyre deck, is going to be under threat from these three in just a moment. And when that happens, we might have a 4-way tussle into Stowe, because why wouldn't you want 4 cars fighting for one piece of tarmac? With just a few laps to go here as well, as Lil Reeves moves past Mago, who's in the pits. Just Perpetual yet to make his third and final stop. But let's ride with Tommy for a second. You can see the Mercedes just ahead, half a second. He's got just under half a second on Six Pompano, who's got I'm your mate right behind him. The lines through Cops were very different, but everybody making it through unscathed. We'll go back to off-board, because the view from Stowe, I think we're going to see 2 overtakes here, as the Scottish 3.6 seconds clear in that Williams. Looking for a Williams home turf victory as Tommy takes a little look down the inside, not quite close enough. But it does look like Sandro is struggling, and with that 3-second penalty would drop a fair amount as I'm your mate goes for the move. We catch him all over the curbs and getting very wriggly on power. Just at the back of that little queue, I think he's hoping to really make some moves here. He could easily come out with second. He could also easily come out with no front wing and far down the order if he's not careful. Sandro is struggling as Mago gets another 3 seconds a bit further back. Oh, Sandro's gone! Sandro's gone! Everybody backs up to try and avoid him. I don't know whether it was contact. We'll find out a little bit later on. I'm your mate is pushing incredibly hard, and they're almost 3 wide into Woodcut here. Tommy leading the way. Six Pompano looking down the inside, not quite going to make it. Sandro now 3 seconds off this battle and would fall behind Jimmy Alex with his penalties as it stands, but I fear his tyres are done and he might have to make a 4th stop just to get something a little bit more sturdy to the end. We'll ride on board with I'm your mate, because it's almost like NASCAR bump drafting through here, and you don't want to do that through Chapel. He's going to get DRS. This should be an easy pass on Tommy. Look at the overspeed. We'll look from rear cam. 6 not quite close enough to make a move, but he's almost too wide. I thought he was going to be off circuit there for a second. Keeps it in bounds. Tommy remaining with these guys all the way through, and has been the one on maximum attack at the moment. I've got 2 laps to pick driver of the day. I've got no clue It's going to be. I feel it's going to be from this top 5, maybe the top 4. Still a couple of laps to go. This could all change. I could pick somebody now, and they could easily make a catastrophic mistake in the final 2. Somebody who's not at the moment. 5.1 seconds clear at the front now. The Scottish. He's on his way to be home and dry as Jimmy goes past Sandro a bit further back. I think those tyres are shot. He's been running the softs for a while. Did take his third stop quite early doors, and with the spin as well, I think they're done for. But we'll go back up to this 3-way tussle for second. These laps are flying by. At the moment, I'd be half tempted just to put this up as one full broadcast rather than try and break this up for highlights. But I got to go back and watch all this, and I can barely keep up now as Tommy tries to go round the outside. 6 is going to try and follow him. Is he going to make it? I'm Your Mate is holding it beautifully on the inside there as Sandro goes back past Jimmy further back. Tommy's going to go here. It's right on board. They give each other just enough racing room. And only just. We're on to the penultimate lap of the race. The Scottish is gone. The Scottish makes a mistake. They're all back with him, but he's gone. Again, we're bump drafting through Abbey. Up the inside, can he make it? No, he can't. He's got 6 Pompano right there as well. We'll ride back off board because this is going to change. Perpetual finally taking his third stop. Jimmy and Sandro fighting further back. And let's take a look at that fight from on board with Jimmy into the final few corners here. Sandro really struggling at this point for grip, has been on those softs for an awful long time. You can see he's struggling for traction out of all the corners. Jimmy's able to get the traction down wonderfully out of the final corner and get the nose up the inside into Abbey. Doesn't quite make it there, but will aim to do it into these few corners here, knowing that there's DRS coming as well, but instead tries to dive up the inside up the loop. Manages to make it, holds it on the inside. Sandro still not giving the position up, but the DRS is now going to be powerful enough down the Wellington Straight for Jimmy to just drift on by. Sandro still holding on just in behind though. You feel that this fight definitely not over.
Yeah, I've just gone off of it.
And he's probably trying to defend.
Which I kind of want to watch too, but we'll watch these 3. Tommy, was there contact? Didn't look like it from the off board. But they are all scrapping for every tiny piece of tarmac here as Dabasaurus picks up another 3 seconds. Jimmy is past Sandro. We'll ride on board with the other RB just quickly. Not for long though, because we're going back to these 3. Second place is still all up for grabs as 6 Pompano gets a 3-second time penalty. He still may net second if there is a falling out between the guys in front, but as it stands, he is dropping back as I'm Your Mate still defends hard through Stowe. Tommy, I think, has finally taken the position, or has he? Yes, he has. Real shallow line now. It's going to compromise him all the way through these final corners. The Scottish is 8 seconds clear up the road. This is all his race as Jimmy and Sandro fighting further back. They're actually kind of catching these 3 as well. Jimmy, though, needs another 1.3 seconds to overturn 6 Pompano.
Okay, gap to the car ahead.
And we're back with Jimmy and Sandro. It's the tail end of the penultimate lap, but you can see Sandro's got DRS and is not giving up the position. He's up the inside into Stowe. Jimmy taking the wider entry point to try and swing back, but doesn't quite make it. But into the final couple of corners, there's contact a little bit over the curbs. Both of them just a little scruffy, but Jimmy sweeps on by.
I've got control. I've got plenty of battery.
Push.
He would need to stay behind for the last DRS advantage, you are correct, but if he thinks he can try and defend it, he's going defensive straight away down the hanging straight. Does move back across, can't defend again though. I'm Your Mate will go up the inside, or will he? No. Tommy will hang it on the outside into Woodcut and into Luffield. And through Brooklands as well. What a move that was. stellar defensive driving from Tommy. But it is going to be down towards Stowe. It's now where the 6th tries to throw one in the McLaren. He's, 7/10 clear of Jimmy with his penalty. Won't lose a position as it stands, but one bold move by any of these guys, and any of them could finish second, as it's a 9-second gap up the front. I do kind of want to see the Scottish over the line, but quite frankly, I'm going to be watching these three up to Stowe. I'm your mate. We'll be done before we get to the corner. As we watch the Scottish come round the final corner to take victory, his first of the season. I'm your mate is still holding on to second. At the moment, only just. Tommy will follow him across the line. 6 will follow him through in 4th place. And will be far enough in front of Sandro and Jimmy, who are coming across the line together.
All the battery now.
And these two once again going down the hanger straight towards Stowe. Sandro and Jimmy. You'll see Sandro goes at the inside. The DRS is really that powerful. But Jimmy, once again, wider entry. Tries to swing back past the Mercedes. Knows it's now or never. Goes for a late move on the outside. Doesn't quite make it. But Sandro, struggling for traction, gets a little bit on the curbs. And as you can see, Sandro will bump across the inside. Jimmy doesn't make it past, but will do with penalties. But Sandro's penalty drops him behind. Vampire is in 7th place, a further 10 seconds back. I can finally take a goddamn breath as Bunny crosses the line, spins it in front of Andy. But they both cross the line, 8th and 9th. Bazza further back there in 10th place. Lil Reeves will take points as well. Perpetual at the moment is looking at the final points paying position. Mago has got a couple of time penalties. We're still watching action all the way to the line. Mago looks to be crossing the line ahead of Perpetual over the curbs. And gains 12 will take overall points. And the final move of this incredible race is between Perpetual and Mago. You can see once again the DRS for Perpetual really strong. He's up the inside into Stowe, but overcooks it maybe just a touch. Doesn't go too far wide, but Mago is going to look at this as an opportunity. He'll late brake round the outside. Perpetual all over the curbs, both of them now. Bouncing across the curbs, Mago then blocks it in. Perpetual almost comes back as Mago hits the curb, but doesn't quite make it. That was a move for a point for Mago, and it was chaotic but well done as Rover crosses the line in 14th, and Darbosaurus will follow over the line in 15th position and breathe. What a race. I think you'll agree it was worth giving you all 26 laps. That was the British Grand Prix. The Scottish wins it and claims driver of the day from my new mate Tommy Ash, 6 Pompano, Jimmy Alex, and Sandro, your top 6. Vampire, Bunny's Vengeance, Andy Rudin, Bazza, Lil Reeves, and Mago take the points with Perpetual, Rover, and Dabosaurus completing our lineup. What does that do to the standings? I'm your mate now takes a 10-point lead over Sandro Wagner with Tommy Ash in 3rd, and as you can see now, only Rover, Steadfast, Jacob, and Boogie with 8 points. In split number 1, I'm your mate passes the 100-point barrier. Tommy Ash is staying on his coattails just ahead of Scornful Griffin. The Scottish moves up to 4th, with 6 Pompano and Bazza now closing on to Bunny to try and get out of the relegation zone. In split 2, Sandro Wagner moves further away, but Jimmy Alex moves into 2nd with Senna missing this round, and Mago already closing up to the likes of Lil Reeves and Mr. Pickles. And in the Constructors, now 3 teams over 100 points. Mercedes just ahead of Ferrari and RB, who are closing on each other. Alpine move a little bit closer now to Haas, who slipped further back. McLaren jump up to 7th. That was the British Grand Prix. That was round 5. Thank you so much for watching. If you've stuck with this one, like and subscribe, do all the good stuff. Join us at the next one for a sprint race in Miami, hopefully down in the marina. It will be just as exciting as it was in the fields of Northamptonshire. I'll see you soon. Take care. Have an awesome one.